Well, good evening. It's been a while. Y'all about to drive me nuts asking me to do some more shows. And I haven't done them for a while because I want you to watch the shows on YouTube. If you don't know how to go to YouTube, when you subscribe to it, you can click all my videos and you can watch them in order. So you start there about the end of March and watch through like 5 or 6 April. Those shows ought to shock the hell out of people. Understand that most of the information in those shows, not one public official, not one law enforcement officer, nobody, the sheriff or nobody will respond to that stuff. Not a commissioner, not a staff person. There's been some responses in the background, and I'm going to explain those to you on the upcoming candidate profile program where we'll go over the candidates running for office in Walton County, and then we'll have a good laugh. But for right now, know that all those shows have occurred, and not one thing is, I've said that to all kinds of law enforcement people. Why doesn't somebody deny what I say is true? Why don't they say that there's no documents that support that? You know why? Because there is, and it's true. It ought to scare us. And I'll tell you something else. A lot of you people out there that don't like me say, well, Alan just won't let that go. He won't let that go. But here's why. The rest of you foolish people who are in all these groups, and some of them are good groups, South Walton Community Council and 30A Save This and Tree Rehabilitation and the Choctawhatchee Basin Alliance, which is a joke, because I put stuff out here about the Choctawhatchee Bay and they turn and run from that information like it's the spread of wet leprosy across the county. But I'm telling you, all you people doing other things, remember when we all tried to stop the Hampton Inn, and we did, only that planning turned around and added 6 more approvals to put hotels on the market. Everybody just gave up. If they want to address the egregious that's been going on and the violations by their own staff, do you really think the government's going to respond to all y'all's groups and concerns? Do you really think we have a chance in hell of really doing what we're wanting to do and preserve our community and just have our elected officials and staff follow the law? Because right now they're in a partnership with development to not follow the law, and I've demonstrated that. Why doesn't the sheriff say I'm a liar? Because he can't. Why doesn't he debate me? Because he won't. He's a coward. Why do the commission? And you watch that video where I approached the engineers, as they said, you ain't wrong, Alan. Well, damn, that ought to scare some people. Look, everything is built on a foundation, and I'm not foolish enough to think that I can fix DC or the state. But the foundation that's failing America is the basic fairness of the system. Everybody's too busy trying to get an edge on every other group, and that's fine for capitalism, but government just has to be fair because nothing else is. And it's systemically probably the most biased and corrupt looking system. And I'm going to play a connect the dots on that for you people, but I want to continue with this update from my last shows. Other things that are going on. The commission is approving stuff left and right. There's an entire environmental mess that seems to be going on down Bishop Tolbert Road, backfilling of red clay. We have an assault on runoff and traffic in this county, and the staff and your elected officials are turning a blind eye for money, for the tax rolls or something else, but it just doesn't make any sense. You've seen all that debate over the horsepower pavilion as it about goes to court. Suddenly planning and Matt Carpenter supposedly have decided that they reconsidered it wrong after all that stink and all that harassment to the horsepower pavilion. There's a lot of bad stuff going on, but I'm serious. If you can't fix what's in your backyard, don't expect it to ever get better. If you're waiting for somebody else to do it, why don't you call the state attorneys, call the FBI, call Crime Stoppers, and say, watch the Alan Osborne show. Any of you law enforcement people, call me and I'll give you email me and I'll email you the documents to prove that law enforcement, elected officials, and key staff are knowingly breaking the laws. And it's affecting financial portfolios, and banks are giving loans on these false statements. And we, the community, are suffering the traffic impacts, and the bay and beach are going to suffer the impacts of the stormwater. These are real issues for the Emerald Coast, and they reach to Destin. If you watch my show and you live in Destin, when Walton County flushes a toilet and it makes it to the bay, guess where the current takes it? Right to a crab island near you. It's pathetic what we're spending on lawyers to cover up the mess, and we're passing on an infrastructure debt. If you plan on leaving your children and your family and even you on the Emerald Coast and in Walton County, we're building an infrastructure debt that we'll all pay off for years once the developers and the corrupt politicians have cleared the seats in the area. You can't make this up on the Alan Osborne show. Bad stuff going on out there. Not a single law enforcement person has responded. Now, if you people out there, if somebody like me was saying all this stuff and it was false, wouldn't you deny it? Get on the sheriff's talk show and ask him why he doesn't deny these documents. Call up your commissioners and say, why don't you deny that? Say you want to know, did the Sandestin annual report, was it swept under the rug even though it was in substantial deviation? And who authorized the state laws of FS 380 to be broken? How about the local ordinances? Man, that's as fake as where Trey Nick claims to live. That's Judge Wells. Maybe Trey ought to live where he's supposed to this round. I don't know. Maybe one of you judges should have a talk with him like y'all supposedly talk with Scott Brandon. I don't know. That's right. You can't make this up on the Alan Osborne show, but stay tuned to this weekend. We're going to have a special edition of Connect the Dots on corruption and the differences in who did what and how they got punished versus who did something else and how they didn't. We're going to go over the candidates running for election in South Walton and all over Walton County and who they are and what the real deal is. So stay tuned to the Alan Osborne show and go to YouTube and subscribe, and let's all get educated, because if you like giving, there's 1 million immigrants probably come in to this country and in the last 30, 40 days, illegally, a few of them seeking asylum. The government just left $7 billion on the last audit we just found out of equipment. How would we like to have $7 billion worth of U.S. infrastructure? Look, folks, these crooked politicians and bad government staff are going to be the end of America. Let's fix it here locally, and then we'll see what we can do about Tallahassee and DC. And that's the way it was on the Alan Osborne show. February 28, 2022. Wished I'd have caught a cobia today, but I see a lot of pork and we've got it identified. So tune into the Alan Osborne show this weekend and share it with a friend. And have you had enough of your government not doing what's right for you? The rest of the world will never be fair. Try to demand that your government is. I'm Alan Osborne. Y'all keep them straight out there. You hear?